For this exercise, the intention is to have your hips, your ribcage and your head moving in alignment with each other on axis. So to start with, get either a stool or a chair and put it against a wall. Now if you've got a chair with a back, turn the back to the side and sit down so you can feel your bum, your back and your head touching the wall. The wall serves as the axis point, so we want to make sure that we can feel the wall at all times. And to start with, I just want you to slide your head all the way up as if you're looking up to the ceiling, as far as you can go, and then slide your head all the way down, tucking your chin in. You'll feel that on the back of your neck. And move in and out of that movement a few times. And as you can see, when your head lifts up, it couples with your chest dropping down. And as when you slide your head down, it couples with your rib cage lifting up. So we're going to consciously incorporate that movement in as well. So next time you lift your head up as if you're looking to the ceiling, you can feel that rib cage dropping down and your shoulders will want to come forwards. Likewise, when you slide your chin to your chest, imagine that you're just expanding and bringing your chest up to reach your chin, and feel your shoulders dropping back, drawing together. When you feel like you've got those two movements comfortably working together, we're going to incorporate the movement of the pelvis and the hips. So when you drop your chin and lift your rib cage up, you want to just drop your pelvis downwards as if it's tipping forwards. And feel a curve in your back. And then tuck your pelvis up underneath you as you look up. And again, you're pivoting around a point, so you won't be leaning forwards or back to get this movement. It's as if the hips are pivoting. You might not be able to get a lot of movement initially, so don't worry too much. You can build that up over time. But the intention here is for you to be able to move all these three structures together. So don't worry too much about the size of it. And when you feel like you've got 2 or 3 really good repetitions in both directions, with everything working in time with each other, then that's the best amount that you can do. You don't need to do too many. It's more about being able to combine it all at the same time. And that's seated cogs. Stand with your feet level and bring one of your hands up to shoulder height. And what I want you to do is starting with your palm, stand with your feet level, bring your arm up to shoulder height, your palm facing up to the ceiling. And we're going to generate this movement segmentally. So we're going to begin by externally rotating the thumb, and then imagine that you're going to drive the rotation from your wrist, follow that up towards your elbow, and then you'll feel your shoulder slightly pull away from your body, and then just come back to neutral and move in and out of that a few times. I like to imagine that it's kind of similar to a tea towel being wrung out, so you're creating torque. You might feel that your rib cage lifts as well. But it's just to get the maximum amount of movement and range by keeping it small, keeping it slow. And don't force the movement in your chest or your shoulder, just follow where your body takes you. And then for the back arm, your arm obviously won't go as far back as your front arm, but I want you to internally rotate your thumb, so it will rotate as far as it can go, and then again move the rotation up into your wrist, and then your elbow, and then your shoulder. You might find that your shoulder drops forwards, and then just unwind that, and then come in and out of that movement, really feeling all of the movement throughout your arm and all of the rotation. So then once you feel comfortable with that, you can put the movement together. So you've got one arm up in front and the opposite arm behind, and then you can just combine the movements. And then obviously when you've done that a few times, you can switch arms. For this one, you're going to stand with your feet hip width apart. Take one of your legs back behind you and wedge your feet as shown in the photograph. Bend the front knee and keep the back leg straight, a low heel on the back leg and 2 points of contact. Take the opposite arm of the bent knee in front of you and the other arm back. And you're going to reach with both of the arms, and as you'll see with Billy, you're going to turn them. It's kind of like a corkscrew movement. So the arms ideally stay at shoulder height. It depends obviously on your mobility, and you're going to lead the movement with the thumb. So move the thumb and then you'll feel the elbow, and then you'll finally feel your shoulder move as well. Keep on axis, so don't lean forwards. And when you've done that a few times, change and do it the other way round. For this exercise, start by taking one of your legs back into a stride length distance, and with the front foot we're going to lift the toes as far as they'll go, and then we're going to lift the forefoot up, and with this straight leg you're going to send your pelvis straight back behind you, so you're in a sitting position, and then come in and out of that space. And remember to make this movement really slow, and the front leg has a straight leg the whole time, so we're not bending it at all. You want to have a sense in a way that you're falling back into the tissue, that you're not forcing it. And you want to feel the front of your tibia, the tibia anterior is the place where you're lifting the foot, so it's coming from there. And just imagine that your foot is fixed to the ground, so it's your pelvis that's traveling backwards, your foot is fixed. And just feel the outside edge of that heel. That's the place that we want the pressure to be. Focus on the weight through that heel. Don't really place your attention into the bent leg. We're not focusing on that one at all. It's the straight leg where we want to put our intention. And with your pelvis, what I want you to do is to move it into a posterior tilt. And that's when we draw the pelvis upwards and tuck in. So it's the opposite of a runner's stretch. Again, do everything the same. Lift the toe, the forefoot, straighten the leg. And when you send the pelvis back, naturally you'll feel that you get to a point where the rib cage moves forwards as a counterbalance to that. So it should come as a sequence. We don't want to force the rib cage forwards. We send the pelvis back, and that in turn means that our rib cage moves forwards. You can just reach forwards just slightly, not too far. And again, that will help send the pelvis back. So one thing to check throughout the movement is that your feet are staying parallel and that they're not turning out. We want to keep the movement quite contained, so just check in with that. And you also want to be able to feel it in the hamstring of the straight leg. So it should feel like an intense stretch. It shouldn't be painful. And so the intention with this movement is to move our bum outside of our base of support. So we've been taking the pelvis backwards. So now what we want to do is to take the pelvis out to the side. So to do this, we can reach our opposite arm away towards the bent leg, and that will naturally provide a counterbalance for our pelvis. So you might not be able to get a lot of shift onto that straight leg initially. It might be quite a small movement. And a good check to see if you've got enough weight on that front leg is to see if you can lift the leg. If you can lift the leg, you need to shift more onto it. If you feel that your quad of the other leg is burning, it means there's not enough weight on the straight leg. So again, send the pelvis back, posterior tilt the pelvis, and then just let the ribcage fall forwards and reach out to the side. And again, we can do this either in the middle of a room. If you feel more comfortable, you can do this against the wall and have that as a target to touch the wall if that feels more comfortable. But we really want to get that feeling of a straight leg shifting out to the side. So when you feel like you've done 2 or 3 really good movements incorporating all the elements, then you can move on and do it on the opposite leg. Stand with your feet level, and we're going to be focusing on the foot that's wedged. So you're going to take a step back with the other leg, a stride length position, not too wide, not too narrow. And with the front leg, you're going to lift the toes up and push down with the ball of the foot so you can still feel pressure in it. And then lift the forefoot up of the same leg and feel the weight fall into your heel on the outside, and straighten the knee, and then place your foot back onto the ground, bend the front knee, and see if you can get your belly button over your forefoot. And then again, your knee straightens, your toe comes up, Then your forefoot comes up. You roll onto the outside edge of your heel. Check that your knee is straight. And then come forwards. Foot on the ground. Knee bends. Move your entire body weight over that foot. And then lift the toe up. The forefoot comes up. And as you're straightening the leg, imagine that the movement is coming from the back of your straight leg. So you're not pushing it backwards. And feel that back leg as you bend the knee almost has a quality of weightlessness. So this might take a few times to calibrate the timing of everything. But again, just sink into that straight leg. You might feel it on in your hamstring. And then bend that knee. And you'll feel that the pressure goes into the inside of your foot. And then as you draw your foot up, straighten your knee, the pressure moves to the outside of your heel. So throughout this exercise, we don't want to be leaning too far forwards or too far back. We want to be relatively on axis, to be looking ahead so our head's neutral. And really just a few repetitions of this. There's a lot of elements to it. So once you've done it one side, then switch legs.